What is going on, y'all? What's up, folks? Give it another, or give it a minute, I should say. And then we'll get started here in a second. What's going on, y'all? I'm not going to be on here long, but I'm going to hop on for just a second. Just recorded some new content and had an idea that came to mind. And I was like, I've got to share this. Oh, big up from the UK. Happy Power. What is going on? Thanks for showing love from the UK. I appreciate that. UK. So so I don't know how many people actually listen to the audio podcast, or you can watch it on Spotify, but the UK is the second most listened to. So the UK and Germany are tied, I think 4% of my total plays, for the international crowd, which is really cool. So I appreciate that. What's up, y'all? So I'm not going to be on here long, but had this fun idea, or I'm going to call it fun. Maybe not fun for some folks. Uh, and I was recording, and then this idea came up, and I was like, "Well, I'm gonna post this online as a question." And then I was like, "Well, you know what? I'm just gonna go live, and we'll talk about it." So has to do with the Bryce Young trade and getting your thoughts. I'll talk about it in just a second. Get it pulled. What's up, y'all? I gotta get started in just a second. All right, y'all. I think we're good enough or close enough to get started. So here's the background. Y'all know, if you are a Panthers fan, you know about the trade up for Bryce Young, and it's not really me comparing him necessarily right now, but something came to mind as I was sitting there thinking about the trade and creating content. I was thinking about the value of that trade. So if you go back and look at what the Panthers spent to move up, one, we know we swapped picks, so moved up to number one, traded back. We gave them the 61st overall pick last year, which was a second rounder, the first overall pick this year, a second round pick in 25, and DJ Moore. So you could technically, you count the first rounder, I guess, as the pick swap, but then you really have a second, a first, a second, and DJ Moore. So quite a package, right? Second, first, second, and a honestly what could be considered an all pro wide receiver. DJ Moore, 6 in receiving yards this past year. So I sat there and I said, so part of this coming up was someone posted on Reddit for Panthers, and that's part of where I was looking. And one, they said, will the Panthers always be known for losing this trade? And I've always said yes. Like, part of me is like, maybe there's this balance possibly where if Bryce Young really works out and maybe the Panthers win a Super Bowl with him, I know that could be far fetched. But maybe in that situation, right? Or maybe some of the Bears picks flop, whatever it is, it's hard to truly know the balance between the two. But what really set it off in my mind is if you take the package that the Panthers used up to trade for Bryce Young, take that same package, how many NFL quarterbacks, active NFL quarterbacks, would get that same package today? And then that kind of resets the bar for how you think about this Bryce Young trade. Because if you think about it, oh, let's just compare it. This is what we had. This is what we got. This is what they got. We still have winners and losers. That's one thing. But when you think about, okay, well, if I had this same package today and I wanted to try to trade for an NFL quarterback, how many starting NFL quarterbacks or how many would you feel comfortable saying, I'm going to trade this package for that quarterback? And I got a feeling that it's going to be very, very thin. So for me personally, when I was like just thinking about the list, I was like Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is a no-brainer. You would take that package to acquire Patrick Mahomes today, hands down. But you're talking about a Super Bowl MVP that's won multiple Super Bowls that is no doubt going to be a Hall of Famer on one. No, I like Bryce Young, but this is just the level that you have to think. So you go through the list of NFL quarterbacks. I start with, the MVP of this year, Lamar Jackson. I'm going to say Lamar Jackson's not going to fetch that trade. We saw what he had the ability last year as a unrestricted or the franchise tag, non-exclusive franchise tag. Nobody wanted to give up 2 first-round picks. So it's going to be hard for me to believe that somebody's going to give up the same package that they gave up for Bryce Young for Lamar Jackson. So I cross him off the list. Dak Prescott, I'm just going through quarterbacks. No, there's no way Dak Prescott's getting that. Josh Allen, he's kind of in the maybe category, but he can't win in the AFC Championship. So I don't think that Josh Allen is going to get that package. Matthew Stafford, no. Older quarterback, not going to happen. Tua Tagovailoa, maybe. I don't know. I don't think you could fetch it for Tua. Jared Goff, no. He's not getting that package. Brock Purdy, no. CJ Stroud, I think CJ Stroud could. I think because of the upside and what we saw, I think you could get that package for CJ Stroud, potentially. But that's like heavily leaning on the upside. So CJ Stroud, Patrick Mahomes would get the same package as Bryce Young. Kirk Cousins, no. Saw what happened there. Jordan Love, he's on the up and up, but I don't think you throw him in that category just yet. Definitely not Joe Flacco. I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to fetch that. Certainly Baker Mayfield. Trevor Lawrence is not. No, Trevor Lawrence is not. I wouldn't say he's kind of borderline for me, but I don't think Trevor can get it. I think Joe Burrow possibly. So I would say CJ, Joe Burrow, Mahomes. Those 3. Justin Herbert is kind of. I know a lot of people like him, but he's another quarterback that really hasn't won yet. So maybe Justin Herbert would get that package. Maybe, but I don't know that I would put him up there. I'm going to still hold him out. Geno Smith, no. Justin Fields, no. Derek Carr, no. Kyler Murray, no. Gardner Minshew, Sam Howell. I'm going through the list. Will Levis, no. O'Connell for the Raiders, no. Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder. I mean, these were some of the starting quarterbacks last year. Daniel Jones, no. Bailey Zappi. Bryce Young. Would Bryce Young get this same package if he were to be traded today? No. Bryce wouldn't even be traded for that same package today. I think that just shows it's not a knock on Bryce, but it's a knock on the decision of the front office that was here to make a choice to trade away the future. Because that's what they did. They traded away the future, which we know. And I'm not going to harp on it, but I think sometimes important to just think about the magnitude of some of those transactions. Zach Wilson, no. Aaron Rodgers, certainly not. I would love to know. So he said, but what package can we offer at the moment for that? Or are you talking about, yeah, the equivalent? So good question. So the way I was looking at this is if you were an NFL team that was in the Panthers position, not that we're making trades, but like if there was an NFL team that was able to give up the same package that the Panthers put together to trade up to get Bryce Young, and it would be like any of these teams. So they are going to get the same compensation that the Panthers offered in exchange for an NFL quarterback, or how many teams could get that, if they were to put their quarterback on the market. I think you're really talking like maybe 2 or 3 quarterbacks, which just resets the state for how Bryce Young is going to be evaluated. Whether it is fair or not, you are talking about a package that you gave up for a superstar quarterback. That's the level that this thing balances out. You decide we're going to put all our chips in and go all in. It's wild to think about it that way. And again, I hope Bryce works out. The other thing, and I'm not going to, spoil any of the content, but I am going to be putting out another video talking through when can we start measuring Bryce Young. And what I mean by that is like truly evaluating him to say, is he going to be the future of this franchise or not? I'm not going to spoil my thoughts on that timeline, but it's something that, of course, I'm going to be thinking about as we head into this season. But yeah, I was recording, and so I'd be curious to know if you think like what quarterbacks in the NFL today or players, maybe, I mean, you could go beyond quarterback, but I think it's, because Bryce is a quarterback. If you were an NFL team, if you took the package that we gave up for Bryce Young, what other quarterbacks in the NFL do you think could will that same package today? And I went through the list and I just said Mahomes, Burrow, CJ Stroud. Those three and I think CJ Stroud on the borderline, but that's it. Just talking about three of the top tier quarterbacks getting that package. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure on this team and Bryce in like year 2. We're gonna have to kind of just let things go and see. And I'm the biggest Bryce supporter there is, but there's only so many excuses you can have before you have to sit back and say, okay, was this the right decision? And I believe it was. I hope he balls out and people keep their receipts and all that fun stuff. But it's something for us to think about. Vikings with a really good future pick. Yeah, I think that would be probably a similar like if we were to think about another team, because it's hard to imagine any other team taking as much as we did and giving it up for any quarterback that's on the market today, which is just wild. Very well timed. Anyways, folks, I think that's all I got for tonight as I am going to go to bed here in just a minute. But I appreciate y'all tuning in. As always, I got new content coming out later this week. So y'all have a great night. Happy Easter if you partake. Got to enjoy that. So anyways, y'all have a good one. I'll see